Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. You know what? Our guest, Mark Bauerlen, he is the co-editor of the book, The City of the American Mind, makes a good point. It is our business as business leaders to demand the best candidates for jobs. Clearly, we're not getting that from our current education system. It's really become an indoctrination system. It's brainwashing, and really at a very low level. It's pretty sad to see. By the way, Mark, I noticed on your biography it says that you taught or has taught at Emory University. It kind of sounds past tense there. Are you in the classroom at all these days?
Yeah, I'm on the faculty at Emory University, and I'm an editor at First Things Magazine as well.
Yeah, are you tenured, by the way?
I am tenured. I've got those golden handcuffs.
Thank God for those golden handcuffs, because those are getting harder to get. A lot more universities are getting more entrepreneurial about the tenure process, and then with political correctness out there as an anvil over the heads of every free-minded professor, it's a pretty dicey environment for academia.
Yeah, and I have some questions to raise about the whole tenure system as well. I mean, we like to think that tenure is a way of ensuring academic freedom and independence of thought. But I think in actual practice, tenure is a way of enforcing conformity, a pretty strict party line, two people all the way through graduate school in those 6 or 7 years as an assistant professor. By the time they get tenure, when they're 38, 39 years old, they're tired, they're beaten down, they're just happy to have that job for life, and they are fully assimilated. They are institutional animals ready to go with whatever the flow is that year.
Resistance is futile.
Yeah. Anyway,
my Trekkie friends will appreciate that. Talk about, kind of give us a panoramic overview of what's covered in the book, The State of the American Mind.
You know, we didn't want this just to be a lot of opinionating and bloviating, so we have a lot of people who are social scientists, academics, researchers, who can bring a lot of good, solid empirical evidence to bear upon different issues. For instance, the American mind. You know, we can talk about the American mind as having a certain set of values that go back to Ben Franklin and Henry David Thoreau, that is self-reliance, right? Entrepreneurship, the self-made man in America, the idea that you're not defined by your birth. And so we look at, Nicholas Eberstadt looks at Social Security data, federal employment and welfare data, and he finds that we are now at the point where 49% of Americans, adults and children, live in households receiving a check on some means basis. That is poverty or income or certain forms of not having enough food stamps. They're getting a check, 49%. Now, we know what happens to people when they continue to receive a check and we ask nothing of them in return. The entitlement mentality grows. They start to believe they deserve, they have a right to that money coming in. What could be farther from Booker T. Washington and his ethos of up from slavery than welfare dependency year after year after year? Well, it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican in the White House or running the Senate. The numbers keep going up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's interesting about that. It's certainly also, I think of John Stuart Mill when I hear you talk about that, who advocated, if you're going to get any money, be you a crony capitalist, getting money for your company, or be it a welfare mom, you need to be unable to vote while receiving that money. That certainly would help with an $18 trillion debt.
I've never heard that from Mill.
That's a John Stuart Mill. That is extraordinary. Makes perfect sense. If you're going to it's kind of like being a member of a board of a nonprofit, and your issue is going to be benefited by the vote. What do? You abstain from voting. Yet we allow people who are direct recipients from this to be able to participate in the electoral process. It's bizarre, and we wonder why it's a debt, and it's a debt settled on the backs of generations of people that aren't even born yet. Which you talk about about the failure of representation.
This is what I counseled Mitt Romney as Barack Obama in 2012 was going around to college campuses promising the college students this and that kind of forgiveness for student loans and so on, and the students loved it. I wanted to say to Mitt Romney, go to a college campus, get a big crowd out there and say, now listen, we've got a big problem of debt in this country. I'll give you the numbers of the federal government or the promises that we've made for Social Security, Medicaid, and so forth. But I've got to tell you, it's not the country's debt. It's not my debt. I'm 60 years old. We've got enough money. I'm going to be okay. It's your debt. You are going to be paying this for the rest of your lives, and I just want to take the opportunity right now to thank you for that.
Yeah. Let them realize they already have skin in the game, and they're really being robbed. Which, I can't help but think that this is why someone, more so than Rand Paul, but Ron Paul caught on, because Ron Paul is one of the few politicians who spoke that way, and that's why I think the kids liked him.
Well, the honesty factor now is one of the reasons why so many people in this country are just disgusted. They feel we have something now called the political class. These are career people. Politics is their paycheck, and they're a separate class. They have a separate set of interests from the rest of us. It's not just the elected officials, but all of the bureaucrats, the high-level workers, the lobbyists, the political industry, the media that supports them. They're in it for themselves, and the rest of us, well, when I saw Lois Lerner testifying before Congress, first of all declaring that she had done nothing wrong deep in the bowels of the IRS during those years, and then taking the fifth, I look at her and I say, she's someone, the rest of us are little people.
Mm-hmm.
That's the new relationship.
Kind of the arrogance
of the class.
The arrogance of officialdom.
Yeah, and they're worse than elected politicians, because at least politicians sometimes have to go out and face the town hall. There's some accountability, but a figure like Lois Lerner has a kind of license that the rest of us can only dream about.
Yeah, it must be nice. Must be nice. Great conversation. Really appreciate the work you did, and encourage people to learn more about the state of the American mind by checking out stateoftheamericanmind.com. And don't be surprised if I reach out to you to do some more future interviews, because I think this is a great topic. Thanks so much.
I'm ready anytime. Thank you.
All right. When we come back, much more for you. We're going to talk about some of the hottest congressional races out there, according to the National Republican Congressional Committee, and much, much more right here on The Price of Business.